want to thank you for your presence and your love and support today for being here for John. Thank you all. I want to welcome you as we pay tribute to John and his long, happy, and fulfilling life, and to share thoughts and memories of him as you express your love and admiration for him. My name is Mike Hall, and I've been asked by the family to lead the service of remembrance. When someone who has very much loved dies, their death causes sorrow and grief as they are now no longer part of our everyday life. We have come here today to honor and commemorate the life of Dr. John Allen Arness. This service is a time to share thoughts and memories of John and to provide some consolation to his family and friends who will miss him greatly. This is also a farewell ceremony, and so we are here to say goodbye to John, and this ceremony is in keeping with his understanding of life. We know that death is in the natural order of things, just as night follows day. Yet we know that it is hard to face death, as it represents the loss of someone we have loved and who played a unique part in our lives. You're sharing your grief as you mourn John, and I hope that you can derive some comfort from this as we remember John and the wonderful memories you have of him, some of which you hold in common, but others that are very personal to each and every one of you. We know that your grief is a measure of the love you've had for John. At every funeral, we are reminded of our own mortality and of others close to us who have died, and where we shall share the intensity of common humanity. Those people who have been a strength, inspiration, good company, and who have enriched our lives by giving love and friendship, and who have derived mutual fulfillment from this, these are the people who give meaning and value to life. We create value, purpose, and meaning for our existence that is based on reason as we search for knowledge and answers through science and the infinite variety in humanity, the wonder and beauty of nature, the arts, music, and literature, but especially by the love of those in our lives. These people, like John, who have a philosophy of life and ethics based on human nature and the natural world, are humanists, and they recognize that we have to take responsibility for each other, for solving the problems of humanity, and for keeping a balance between our needs and nature. Humanism has grown over the centuries in our search for truth, knowledge, and a good and happy life in our empathy with other people. In striving to live our life honestly and developing our capabilities and our commitments to our family and friends, in our empathy with others, we will leave the world a better place. By his caring nature, his love, his friendship, his gentleness, his tolerance, his empathy, his passions, his generosity of spirit, his creativity, his sensitivity, his sociability, his sense of fun, and his very individual ways, John has made his contribution to making this world a better, happier, and more beautiful and interesting place. John had a full and rich life and was so loved by you all, and he knew that. His influence will live on in the unending consequences that will flow from his happy life and wonderful, warm character. It is you who will carry the memories of his smile and laughter, the good times together, his kindnesses, and his generosity. It is in those memories, in the myriad of influences and impressions, and in the genes and character traits of our successors that give us our sense of continuity. John will live on in our hearts and thoughts of all those whose life he has touched. Each one of you feels enriched because we knew him. You are fortunate and privileged to have had him in your lives, and he will always be a part of your family and your circle of friends. The pleasure and joy of having a devoted husband, father, brother, grandfather, friend, neighbor, and colleague to many over the years, this will never be lost. I have a poem that's called Afterglow by Helen Marshall I'd like to read for you. I'd like the memory of me to be a happy one. I'd like to leave an afterglow of smiles when life is done. I'd like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times and laughing times in bright and sunny days. I'd like the tears of those who grieve to dry before the sun, of happy memories that I leave when life is done. At this time, we're going to have some family remembrances, so invite the family forward, please.
I hope I can get through this. I have something that my sister Sue wrote because she's in Canada and unable to come to Maine because of the border being hard to cross at this time. So this is something that Sue wrote. She put, "First, I want to thank all of you for attending today. It means a lot to my mother and my sisters. It is very surreal for me not to be here. With the border being largely closed and the risk of COVID to all, I chose not to attend, but it breaks my heart. And so I thank my sisters for being here and speaking on my behalf. I hope to see everyone after the COVID at my father's memorial. To my father, I want to say that you truly will be missed. I don't think there are words that can truly convey my love and respect for you. I am truly blessed to have you as my father. This is difficult to write because there is literally a lifetime of things to say, but I need to condense it all here at this time. When I was young, you helped Mom raise me with gentle kindness and wisdom. You loved me unconditionally, and we had so much fun. You would get down on the floor and play games with us, Matchbox, Cars, Yahtzee. We loved playing duets on the piano, skating on the ice. We bobbed for apples on Halloween, and so many more great memories. When I was older, you were there as a mentor and a friend. You treated me as an equal, even though you were always the wiser. I loved all those evenings I spent with you plunked in the chair in your office on the front porch, or drinking tea on the back steps after supper. Swimming at Clearwater Lake, those moments were so simple, but so profound, because those were the times when we bonded and enjoyed each other's company for its own sake. Those memories comfort me, despite the immense sadness of your departure. You have influenced me in so many ways. You were a successful doctor, and yet you were always so humble, and you strove to improve the welfare of your patients because it was the right thing to do. You were always polite and kind to all. I remember going downtown with you and observing how you interacted with others. In turn, I could see how others respected you. You showed me how to appreciate things such as art and literature, which lifted everyday life to a different height. You influenced my career as a photographer and a love for the arts. Together, we also shared a love of our family history, and today I am inspired desire to continue in that direction. You are not really departed because you live in all of us. Thank you, Dad, for being you. I am ever so grateful to have you as my father. So now I have two other eulogies written by my nephews. I have one from Paul, Sue's son, and it says, "Dear Granddad, I would like to share a few of my memories with you, with everyone here today. I remember the one time you were visiting at the house in Friendship. You were showing me your ham radio setup. You tried explaining to me how it worked. You told me stories about conversations with people around the world. Your enthusiasm was infectious, even if I understood very little about what you were showing me at the time. One of my fondest memories was when you were living with us in Waterloo. I had gotten up late at night and going to the kitchen for some water. I found that you were up playing with our old dog Klondike. You were giving him some treats because you could not stand to see him go hungry, since he was on a bit of a diet. You cared and loved for everyone you were near, and that is a quality I will always remember and strive for. I remember walking and chatting with you on the island, discussing your time going through university as I was preparing to go to university myself. You were always so genuine and so happy to share your memories and experiences with me. I will miss you greatly. Love, Paul." And I also have one from Alan, also Sue's son. It says, "I want to thank everyone attending here today, and I wish we could all be together at this time, even though the borders are closed, and I know we are all here in spirit. To my beloved grandfather, I want to thank you for the unconditional love that you have given to every member of our family. I have always admired all of your accomplishments and your dedication and passion in everything that you put your mind to. It is really hard to sum up everything that you mean to me, and I have so many fond memories of our time together. If I had to pick just one, I would say it would be any time you would visit us as kids and bring us movies with Herbie the Love Bug." That was apparently the movie they love to watch together. Watching these together were hands down some of my most cherished moments, memories. Somehow, even after all this time, I can still picture them clear as day. Even though today we are saying goodbye, I know you will never truly will be gone. A star in the night sky, even after it fades, the light will continue to shine on for millions of years. I know that given the immense amount of light you have always projected, you will continue to shine through within all of us. Love, your grandson, Alan. And I have one more from my sister Sue's daughter, Susie. She says, "Thank you to my aunts for reading this today. I could not attend, so again, thank you. I am John Arness's granddaughter, Susie, and I'd like to share a memory that I have of him. Granddad used to walk my brother Paul and I when we were little to school in the mornings. I think one of his favorite memories of us when we walked to school on the snowiest day of the year. We were slipping and sliding around, and it took almost twice as long to get to the school. When we finally got there, we were told to go back because it was a snow day. So we took the same route back through the snow and ice, all the way struggling not to fall. Granddad would ask me if I remembered this day. I think it was one of his fondest memories of us together. I think that spoke to the person that he was, someone who enjoyed and held on to those small and enjoyable moments of life that we shared with family and friends. So that's what I'd like to share today, a moment of time he held in his memory among many, many others. I am so grateful to have been there with him in that moment. Now I'd like to turn the microphone over to my sister Carol, if she has something written as well.
First of all, I was going to try to play something that Susie sent. Let's see here. A couple years ago, she was visiting for Christmas, and while Mom was making dinner, Dad got up and started playing the piano. And he loved playing the piano all his life, but he hadn't played much as he got older. And she had never seen him playing, so she recorded this secretly, and she kept it, and she just sent it to me the other day. So it's the theme from Dr. Zhivago. That was it. All right. Yeah, he meant so much to those kids all their lives. He was there for them when they were young, and now they're in their 20s and 30s, and he still means a lot to them. Glasses on. We are gathered here today to say goodbye to my dad, John Allen Arness, who died on October 20th, 2020 from complications of heart disease and Parkinson's at the age of 89. How does one sum up a life that spanned most of the 20th century and the first 2 decades of the 21st? Dad lived a long, full, and long life and touched many people, as you have heard. Above all, he was devoted to my mother, his kids, and his grandkids. He loved being a dad through the fun times and also the trials and tribulations of helping us grow into adulthood. He was close to his own siblings, especially his sister Ruth and brother Frank, and talked about them in his last days. He loved his father, who lived into his 80s, and his mother, who passed before I was born. And especially his grandmother, a sweet Southern lady from Norfolk, Virginia, who lived into her 90s. He was close to his many nieces and nephews and to his in-laws, especially Paul Golden, whom he corresponded with after Paul and Ellie moved to Michigan. He had a long career as a physician and was kind and caring towards his patients, many of whom were veterans of the Second World War or Vietnam. He not only helped them cope with their experiences, but also secured disability benefits for them so that they could lead dignified lives. He was proud of his service in the U.S. Navy. He was an inspiration and a role model. He was intelligent and inquisitive, well-versed in medicine and science, literature, music, and history. Above all, he was caring and always a good listener. He loved a good adventure, and more often than not found it in a book. His dog-eared copies of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings were testament to that. And I quote, "It's a dangerous business, Frodo, going out your door. You step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to." By Bilbo Baggins. In his later years, he enjoyed a series of mysteries by the South African novelist Rennie Erth. My sister Sue gave him his first copy. Then he was hooked on those fast-paced psychological thrillers, starring Detective John Madden and set in the English countryside between the 2 world wars. 6 weeks ago, seemingly out of the blue, he asked me if I would like to read a classic 20th century novel, Thomas Mann's The Magic Mountain, and would I read it in translation or the original? Having studied German in college, I said I would read the original. Somehow, as hard as it had become for him to compose an email, he contacted Aunt Ruth for a copy. She shares his love for great literature and still deals in vintage books and artwork, and agreed to look for a copy. Like many guys, he loved sports and played football in college. Fatherhood brought the inevitable tossing of the ball in the backyard and teaching the kids how to ride their bikes. I always look forward to a ride with Dad to the general store, where we stopped for a soda and candy bar. But he really enjoyed the challenge of learning to sail one summer on Little Sebago Lake. Our home, being at the southern end of this body of water, was almost cut off from the main part of the lake, but for a thin stream of water, which we called the Narrows. Not content to skim along the light breezes within swimming distance of our cove, he tried navigating the Narrows under sail. Now I, with the energy and impatience of a 10-year-old, would jump into my little motorboat and speed through. He, however, preferred to rely on physics and a bit of luck to approach the Narrows at just the right tack and just enough headway. He didn't always thread his way through to the bigger main lake, but he had fun trying. As the years wore on, there were many challenges ahead. It certainly must have been difficult finding work as a psychiatrist in rural Franklin County after we moved to Farmington in 1972. But even after a long day at work, Dad always summoned the energy to help us with enigmatic math equations and later with applying to college. Over the years, I have often found myself puzzled by his seeming contradictions. He often seemed suspended between practicality and a dream. For example, he chose medicine as a profession, but wished also to create original works of art. He lived most of his adult life in Maine, and while he loved the state for its natural beauty and its people, he often yearned to return to Virginia, his birthplace. Sailing through the Narrows wouldn't have been possible without confidence in a dream of making the seemingly impossible possible. Dad had many aspirations in life, and like for most of us, some went unrealized. But he also knew that time ushers in change and is often best just to remember things as they once were. He must have known that a dream can be measured not only in its realization, but also by the value of holding out hope and the thrill of possibility. Dad and I also shared a love of cars, especially vintage sports cars, although neither of us ever owned such a vehicle. Dad often talked of wanting a Chevy Corvette, which he could have bought, certainly a used one, but never did. One of the last trips we took together was up to Corvettes North in Waterville. My sister Sue photographs homes for the real estate market, and often these homes have nice sports cars in the garage. She would occasionally send him a photo of a beautiful car, and sometime in the past year, she sent him a photo of a vintage race car, a McLaren. We Googled it, and we were very impressed. That's when I remembered that I had a Hot Wheels version of a McLaren from my childhood collection. A few days before Dad passed, when he was talking and reviewing a lot of jumbled thoughts, he asked about going for a ride in the car. Then he said he wanted to take the sports car, my McLaren. I said we could go for a ride when he regained his strength, and that would be so much fun. I would like to finish with a poem by William Butler Yeats. Ede wishes for the cloths of heaven. Had I the heavens embroidered cloths, enwrought with golden and silver light, the blue and the dim and the dark cloths of night and light and the half-light, I would spread the cloths under your feet. But I, being poor, have only my dreams. I have spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly, because you tread on my dreams. Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing those wonderful memories of your dad. As you know, John loved sailing, as Carol mentioned. So we thought it was fitting today to read I Am Standing Upon the Seashore. I am standing upon the seashore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until at length she hangs like a speck of white cloud, just where the sea and the sky come to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There, she is gone." Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She is just as large in mast and hull and spar as she was when she left my side, and she is just as able to bear her load of living freight to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her, or in him, we should say. And just at the moment when someone at my side says, "There, he is gone," there are other eyes watching him coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here he comes," and that is dying. And now for words of committal. We have been remembering with affection and gratitude the life of John, and recalling what a loving, happy, compassionate, and good person that he has been. So in sorrow, but with deep love and affection, we now commit John's body to its end, to be transformed into the ultimate elements of the universe. We rejoice that he lived. You took delight in his friendship. You treasure that you shared in his life. You cherish your memories of him. With love, we leave him in peace. With respect, we bid him farewell. Now, military honors. family, we again want to thank you for